There are two ways to layer leads. The first is getting them sound like this. And this is the second.
Looking good, just one more. Put it down. Oh, box!
Thankfully, today we're going to be focusing on the first. I've had a few requests in the last couple of weeks for people asking me how to layer lead synths. So that's exactly what we're going to look at in this video. And I'm going to tell you exactly what you have to look out for when you're picking your layers. Now, the main mistake people make is layering lots of different synths that are almost the same together, hoping that it's going to give them a big, fat, wide layered lead synth. But the trick is to actually choose layers that complement each other rather than being the same as each other. And the things that you need to look out for complementing is the dynamics, so that's the attack, decay, sustain, release, the frequencies, of course, so you might have them octaves apart or just a completely different tonal sound. And the third is the stereo field, so you might have one panned out to the left, you might have one panned out to the right, and then maybe a couple in the middle as well. So we're going to go through each of these steps in the next 5 minutes. The first thing to do is, of course, write out whatever melody you want that lead line to play. You could do this in a piano, or you could just do it in a simple synth. So this is what we've got. Nice and simple. And you'll notice that all of the leads are grouped into this lead group in Ableton. If you're using a different DAW, then you would just send them all to a lead bus. And then this is where I've added some reverb on the aux channel and a bit of delay as well. And that's so they all sound like they're coming from the same space and they sit together well. Once I've done that, I can just duplicate it, which I did, duplicate it a couple more times. And you always have to know or have in your mind why you're adding another layer. I knew I wanted a really strong, powerful EDM lead, even though it's kind of a slow trap type track. I wanted a big kind of Avicii, kind of Nicky Romero type big lead sound. So yeah, I loaded up my Serum and just browsed through some presets until I got something that was more or less the sound I wanted. And I think in this one, actually, I created this from scratch. So that's a simple saw wave, and I've added some portamento to it to give it that kind of whoop, pitch bend type sound. But when I've done that, I will duplicate that Serum. Then it's got all of the same attributes. But what I need to do is then make sure that the ADSR complements it. Or if not the ADSR, then at least the frequencies. So let's listen to these two. So that's the first one. What's the second one? Okay, so that's more the stereo width that I've added to this lead. So if we were to listen in mono, they're not that dissimilar in frequency. They're both saw leads, but the difference is on this one, I've got a lot of unison, I've got a lot of width here. You can see I've got multiple square waves playing on one of the oscillators, and the unison and the detune makes it nice and wide. So if we listen in stereo to those two together, and this is with the second one off, that's the original. So that's two. And of course, I would usually add this delay and this reverb after all of this, but because I've already done this, I'm just walking through it. It's on at the moment. So I could actually just kind of silence it if that makes things easier. Now the third, I have got a vocal hook. I think it's actually taken from this vocal hook.
I feel it in my body, feel it in the night.
But I grabbed one of those chops and I chucked it in a sampler for the third layer of my lead. And this will also give it some tonal quality and characteristics from the vocal, which ties it together with the track more. So let's have a listen to this. So that gives it some character, but obviously all three of these are quite long and sustainy. But you can hear the character this vocal, this chop, adds to it. Just a lot more richness, a lot more depth. But then the fourth of the layers of my lead is this pluck sound, which is to give it some staccato attack, really. Play this one on its own. So you can hear this is a lot more of a staccato sound than the leads. And yeah, you Could just do that using your ADSR controls, of course. So no sustain, short decay, short release will give you a pluck sound, and that's how you make a pluck. So layered onto all of them, we've got the main sound with the first layer, we've got the stereo width with the second layer, we've got frequency, variation and richness with the third layer, and then the fourth layer we've got the dynamic difference because we've got a staccato sound. So let's have a listen to that now. Now, when you have got your layers, the thing to do is to process them all together as one, and this glues them together and just gels them so they're coming from one place. So what I'm doing is I'm adding a little saturation with Soundtoy's little radiator, adding some more saturation, a bit of distortion with Camel Crusher, classic old school plugin, but really good. Just get it online for free. Just fattens it up. And then I might compress them together as well to just glue them all so it sounds like one instrument. And then the LFO tool if you want to do a pumping sidechain effect. So all together. And that is how you layer leads. Now, of course, this is for a very specific purpose, but the fundamentals apply to any layering, in fact. If you want me to develop this track in another video, let me know in the comments below. I read everyone. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell wherever it is. And you can download a cool free gift below this video as well. Thanks for watching, cheers, and happy producing.